I can't take any responsibility for that music, but man, we were dancing backstage. Um, all right. Well, welcome everyone to another Replit Town Hall and welcome to the year 2023. We have a bunch of exciting updates for all of you, as well as some changes that I know have already come up in the chat. Don't worry, we'll have time to address those as well. We like to talk, we like to learn. The first thing I want to do is, before I invite up my co-host and really our new host, is I want to get a sense of who all is here. I've seen some familiar names, but I'm curious if folks can maybe tell me, where are you tuning in from today? And as a spoiler for one of the big topics we'll be talking about, what is your favorite new feature, or what is the coolest use of AI that you've seen, done, utilized in the past couple of months? I'm curious to hear from you all. So take a minute, let me know who you are in the chat, and tell us about your favorite new feature or the coolest AI use that you've seen or done in the recent past. Folks are saying, doing my homework. All right. Some folks are just avoiding it. Ghostwriter. Hello, country boy from Florida. Hello, Craig in NYC. Awesome. Ooh, we've got some Quebecois folks over here. Ooh, folks using AI and bounties. Love it. Bromley using that 4G data to really pushing it on the bus. Thanks for being here. All right. Thanks, everyone. Awesome. Keep the chat going. Keep it positive. Add your questions. We've got staff in the chat as well, and I'll be in the chat once I am off screen to talk with you all. Now that we have a good sense of who's in the room, I am going to introduce the MC for tonight, or this morning, whatever your time zone is, which is the wonderful David Morgan, who some of you will recognize from 100 Days of Code. David is going to be leading our town hall today, so you will have less of me on your screen and more of him, our engineers, and our other teammates as well. And without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to the wonderful David Morgan. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Lena, and welcome everyone to Town Hall. I was about to say Replit 101 then, because I'm so practiced in talking about the same things. We've got a big agenda for you today, which I'll just show you very quickly before we get started. This is what we're going to be talking about today, in about the right order that we'll talk about it in. Lena's just given a wonderful intro, and I'll be doing all the links and nudging the chat as we go. Thanks, Ethan. British Amjad. Yeah, that's me. That's what they call me. We're going to get stuck straight into pricing changes. We'll bring Amjad up in a minute to have a chat about that. Then we've got themes, 100 Days of Code, Ghostwriter, PostgreSQL, mobile, and information about the weights and biases hackathon. But without further ado, let's get stuck in to the very first part and bring Amjad up. Hi, Amjad.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Well, we're having a great stream. It's the most people I've ever seen in the stage of the live stream, so I'm very excited.
Oh wow, that's awesome! And I like this British Amjad thing. That's a cool nickname.
Well, I'm a cheap knockoff, so you know, off-brand version. That's what we say. But you're going to talk to us a little bit about the pricing changes. So I'll leave you to go, and I'll disappear and pop back in a few moments. But if you've got any questions in the chat, please do leave them there. I'll favorite them, and we'll bring them up at the end.
Yep, sounds good. So before I get into that, I think it's important to just start from the basics. So Replit's mission is to empower a billion software creators, and this has to mean that we have a robust free plan. And our commitment to having a free plan is unwavered. You know, as a lot of you know, I started working on Replit as a college student, even before it was a company. and it always had a free offering. In fact, we only introduced paid many years into the project. When we became a company in 2017, we introduced the Hacker Plan, which was kind of surprise, the same price as it is now. So $7 per month. And at the time, Replit was really like very basic product. When we first introduced the Hacker Plan, Replit didn't have, I think, files. It was just like an editor and a console. I'm sure you can fact check me on that, but I think maybe we just added like file tabs, but we definitely didn't have a file tree. That happened in 2018. So the product was super basic. And since then, it has improved leaps and bounds. I don't know if you've seen my T-shirt. It says shipping season, but at Replit, we pride ourselves on shipping a lot and improving the service a lot. We think you're either improving or you're dying or decaying. So especially in an industry like ours, where it's like super fast moving, you have to be constantly improving. And Replit has been constantly improving. And actually, the rate of improvement has been improving, meaning that we, on any given year by year basis, we actually been shipping a lot more. 2022 was the year we shipped the most amount of features and the most amount of improvements, crucially, not just features, but we've been focused on core improvements, things that might not be user facing, or things that sometimes actually might cause a little bit of a little bit of changes in the near term, where we think it's sort of much better long term. For example, when we do infrastructure things that are like Code Mirror and Nix, we're typically planning many years ahead. When we switch to Code Mirror, we've been thinking about how we're going to do extensions. We've been thinking about how we want to do mobile, how we want to do iPad and tablet. When we switch to Nix, we've been thinking about how we want to, do hosting in the future, how we want to do security, how we want to do package management. And we try to plan and build Replit for the long term. But at the same time, we have to remember that the company's costs have grown a lot because our team has grown a lot. So we're now around 80 people, and so that's a lot of people to support. We're going through this hugely inflationary environment. Basically, everything's going up. Eggs are twice as more expensive as they were last year. And so for us to build a sustainable company, we need to be able to, just the basics of business, at least like make more revenue than we're spending on providing a service. And that's not even just talking about getting profitable at some point, but actually covering our core costs is a very important thing for us to continue to provide the service really for decades. We want to build Replit to be a lasting company, a company that you can depend on in the same way that in your mind you depend on the internet or depend on Google or depend on something that you've been depending on for a long time, or Apple, some of these big brand names, where you want to build Replit to be that kind of brand name in your life, something that you can put files on and make sure that they will never go away. And it just works day in, day out. And for us to do that, we need to be careful about how we structure our prices and how we build our service. The other thing I'll say about that is we're actually planning for the future. And again, anything Replit does, we're thinking 1, 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. And what we're trying to do today is the main motivation behind the changes of pricing is to unlock a lot more reliability for both the free plan and the pay plan, and B, unlock a lot more power, a lot more scalability and ability to grow. We think in the long term, this will actually end up feeling it like a bargain, because we're committed on just like making the service 10, 100 times better. And again, the free plan will get better. We want to make the entire service more reliable. Last year, we embarked on this really big infrastructure rewrite. You might have heard these terms called control plane and GoVal. And so our main goal was to make the service gold standard reliable. So that means 5 nines of reliability. What we found pretty early on is that the economics just don't work out with the current prices that we have. So at Replit, we always want it to be accessible. And so we want to be available to everyone, and everyone can access the service, regardless of their status. But at the same time, we don't want to build something that's crappy. We want to make things, again, that are going to be in people's lives, they're in a meaningful way for a long time, through school, through work, through every event in life. You want to be able to rely on Replit. And for us to do that, we need to build a high quality product. And the economics just did not work with our prior pricing model. So the updates that we made, sorry, I'm a little under the weather, was the hacker plan. We reduced the how many always on and boosts from 5 to 1. So with a hacker plan, you still get to at least try always on and boosts, but you have to pay for them separately. And with boost, we also introduce a lot of different tiers. So you can like add a lot. You can add a lot more compute and power, and you can control exactly how much you want to spend. And we think that was like a very important addition, and we're already seeing a lot of people use it. Even in the 2 days in, there's a lot of demand on it. And we reduced the basic boost specs on Hacker, but again, that you have more granular control over that. Whatever REPL you think is most important for you, you can add boosts on that. And then the always on and boost pricing went from 2 cycles a day to 20 cycles a day. And I know that sounds sort of ridiculous, but we think the pricing is still very competitive. And we want to make the service 10x, 100x better and more reliable. And again, for us to do that, we need to make sure the economics work. And we want to provide a stellar service. The other thing that's important to note is that we want to add more earning opportunities on the platform. So if you can't afford using as many boosts always on as you'd like to, you should be able to earn more cycles on the platform. So today we have 2 major ways of earning cycles. One is bounties and the other is tips. We're actually seeing people making like a sizable amount of cycles on tips, tens of thousands of cycles per REPL, and we'll just see more of that. We're also going to give you an ability to charge customers directly using cycles. And maybe in the future we'll add more ways to earn cycles, whether through hackathons or prizes or other things like that. And so sort of to sum up, our commitment is to you and to everyone is that the free plan remains free forever. And it's been the case for 10 plus years and will continue to be the case. The free plan will get better. The free coding experience will actually get a lot better, because once we've kind of made this pricing change, we're going to be able to reinvest in a better service for everyone. 3, the reliability of the service will get a lot better. No more of these like 5-minute wake ups, no more downtime. You should be really able to depend on Replit like any major cloud provider that you depend on. And 4, we're going to give you a lot more control over how you spend. on the site. And so you'll be able to kind of put cycles behind the things and the REPLs you care about the most. We're going to give you more controls. We're going to give you more reports. We're going to give you more analytics over where your money is going. So you're going to feel like you understand how you're spending money on the site. And finally, we're going to give you more earning opportunities in order to spend wherever you want to spend the cycles. And again, like, I thank you so much for being a Replit user and customer. And we want nothing more in the world than to be able to serve our customers for many years and decades to come. And, we assure you this is not a scheme to extract as much value. This is a scheme to invest as much as we can into the platform and to continue to do it for a long time. So that's sort of my message. I don't know, David, if you wanted me to say anything else.
No, I think that's good. I've only seen one real question pop up, and the only question really that I've seen has been, why now? Why hadn't the prices increased for, say, the last 2 years? Can you speak to that?
Yeah, we were actually waiting to get more earning opportunities on the site. So bounties now are actually up and running in a big way. One of the things that we feared was that we don't want to lock people out of the platform. And so we wanted the cycles infrastructure to be in place, and that took a long time to build. And we wanted to at least have some earning opportunities to be in place. And so that's in place now. And it just sometimes takes a long time to like get everything in order. And, it's important to remember cycles have been around only for 5 months. We've been talking about it. You can go back to my talk posts. I've been talking about it since 2018. And so sometimes just things take a long time.
Thanks for that.
One other thing I forgot to mention, David, sorry, and I see a question about that, is the hacker plan grandfathered in until April 3rd. And the other thing is we're going to introduce more plans. So it's not just going to be the hacker plan. There's going to be more plans. And so one of the feedback we've gotten with the pricing update is that like pricing is a little confusing. I'd rather like have something simpler. And so we're going to introduce also simpler plans for everyone.
Yeah, I think that'd be great when we start seeing that. I just want to direct people, if you do have any more questions about pricing or anything like that, please take them to the Ask Forum. There's a pinned thread on there somewhere with all the questions being answered by Replit staff. So if you want to go and chat about it, please do go there. It's a great place to go and ask questions and get them answered. Amjad, thank you so much for coming to speak to us about the pricing. I think it's good that we get out there and not shy away from it. So thanks very much for chatting to the community about it.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks. I'll let you go now. Thanks. I said that a bit excitedly then, didn't I? Thanks. A bit high-pitched and excitedly. Yeah, didn't embarrass myself at all. I think it's important to remember as well with the changes to the hacker plan that you do still have that following mode where every REPL that you access when you're using a hacker plan has, I think it's 4x boost. So you see really good speeds from everything you're currently accessing. What we've lost is sort of more hosting sort of features from the power always being there when they're running in the background. But as Amjad said, we'll have more pricing strategies appearing and more bundles and packages appearing very soon. So watch out for that. Now, next up on the agenda is something that people have been clamoring for a long time. Sergey, I'm going to bring you up.
Hi, hey, how's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. Now, I think this is fair to say that the feature you're going to talk about has been one of the most requested features in Replit's history.
Yeah. I think certainly one of the most, if not the most requested. So it was really exciting to get the chance to work on that and finally bring it out to the world. I know a lot of people were waiting for a long time. Yeah, I'm excited to share that we finally launched custom themes about a month ago, towards the end of December. So that was really, really awesome to see because we've been talking about it for a long time.
Yeah, and the adoption rate was fantastic, wasn't it? I'm going to let you go and do your presentation now, Sergey, but I'll be back in a minute. Again, if anyone's got any questions, please pop it in the chat and I'll collect them at the end.
Absolutely. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I assume everyone can see that. So you can see now, here's Replit. One thing you might notice when you kind of load up the homepage is this little theme sidebar item here. So some of you may remember from the last town hall, if you had attended, I had shown a really, really early version of the themes creation experience. This was a month and a half or so before it fully was released. So we got to give people a sneak peek. But what hadn't been done yet was the consumption experience. So I'm going to go a little bit more into that. So if you click on the theme sidebar here, you see a list of themes that have been published to the community. And you can see that it's sorted by popularity, so number of installs. And our most popular themes, we have a ton now, with well over 1,000, several thousand installs, including 28K here for VS Code Dark. That seems to be quite the popular one. But you can just see, like, so many different options to choose from in terms of which themes you might want to install. So the nice thing as well is, obviously a list like this is a bit overwhelming because there are many, many themes at this point that people have published. So, you have a number of filters here as well that you can use. So for example, you can type in by title. Maybe I'm looking for a Dracula theme, and you can see a lot of people have created a Dracula theme, which is really awesome. So you have a few that you can choose from. You can filter by a certain user. So one of our community members, TG101, has been extremely prolific. And in addition to making the most popular theme, they also made a ton of other ones that you might be familiar with from VS Code and other editors. So that's really cool. Filter by any author. You can filter by color. So this is, pretty neat. So if I want a green theme, I can go and do that. If I want a red theme, I can go and select from there. It's not always the most accurate, but like purple themes like this. So that's like pretty fun to try out and do. Oh, whoops. I'm not sure if people see the color picker there, but anyways, it brings up a color picker. And so you get to choose by color, which is neat. And you can also filter by mode. So if you're looking specifically for a light or a dark mode theme, then you can do that because they're clearly labeled. So that's a little bit about kind of how you might browse themes if you want to go and try them for yourself. The other thing is, once you click in to a theme, you can land on its cover page. A few things you'll notice. First of all, there's a little preview here with the editor. This is the terminal theme. I think it's really neat. Reminds me of the Matrix. And you can type in the editor and see how, like, the different syntax highlighting. I mean, in this case, there's no syntax highlighting because it's meant to match the theme, but you can see how it looks with code. So you can select between a number of different languages and kind of get a feel. And then up in the corner here, you can see a preview button. So that will just apply all of the colors here off the top. You can tip the theme author, you can follow them, and then you can install the theme as well and share it. So that's pretty neat. Maybe I'll just showcase one more just to get a better example of like the syntax highlighting. I really like Hugo's Dark Rainbow theme. I think it's a pretty sweet theme. So you can see an example of some of the syntax highlighting here and how that might look in different languages. Maybe you want to see how it looks in HTML. Maybe you want to preview it and see how it looks. And then you can go ahead and just hit use theme. And then you can see the theme is applied site-wide. So now I'm kind of navigating around the site, and it goes with me everywhere, including in the editor and outside. And within this little theme switcher here, you can see that there are a few different themes that I have installed here. So for example, this one I installed around Christmas time, feeling a little festive. So that was cool to see. And different other popular themes that you might be familiar with, like Groovebox. And then you can go and discover them and create a new theme. So then I'll just briefly go over what it looks like to create a theme. You can see this big button here in the corner. You can give the theme a name. So my dark mode theme. You can switch between light and dark mode for the color scheme, and then you can give it a description if you'd like. So I'm going to say it's really cool. And I'm going to go ahead and create a theme. And then you can see you're kind of dropped into the theme editor. I won't go into detail about every single thing, but the gist of it is you have this global theme section where you can change the color of everything from the background to the foreground, the outline, and all sorts of different color values that you'll see across the site. So you can see, maybe I'll give this a red outline, like a blue foreground, a light blue foreground, I'm not the best at actually making themes. I prefer to just use other ones that people have made. But so you can see that happening. You can see the other neat thing is the ability to customize syntax highlighting. So you can do that right here from this editor. So if I want to choose change variable names to green, I can do that. If I want function definitions to be, something else. Let's see, maybe I don't have a value here. Oh, if I want, like, say, for example, comments to be, blue or red or something, you can do that. So that'll give you an idea. And again, this editor here is just meant to allow you to preview what it looks like in your favorite languages, essentially. So we have an example of that. And you can type in here and give it some other values here. Lastly, if it's a little distracting, you can always toggle off the preview, and that will just revert back to what the theme you have installed. And you can see during this, it auto saves all of your values. So as you're changing it, you don't have to worry about anything being lost. And when you're ready, you can, one, apply the theme, and then you can publish it to the community. And so that is what's going to surface it to everyone else, all other Replit users who might want to try it out. So I'll publish this, and then you can share it. And from here, you can see you can visit the cover page directly. And this is kind of the same experience I was showing off earlier, where people can try it out for themselves. They can preview it. They can tip you if they really like it, and just try out the themes that you made. And just like that, I've published my theme out into the world and had a lot of fun creating it. So that was really neat. And the last thing worth mentioning is within this editor, there's also, because it's a little hard sometimes to kind of figure out which tags that you might want to style here in the editor. So we developed this little preview here where you can just hover over something and change it right in line. So that way it makes it really, really easy to go and select kind of to target certain things, tokens in your code, whether that's variable names or definitions or something, instead of having to select from this big long list, because that might be a little confusing. So yeah, that's a little bit about how to create, view, and install themes. Again, go to replit.com/themes. You can go and see all the themes that are out in the world. Go try some out. Find your favorite one that you might be used to in your local editor, whether that's VS Code or otherwise. And if you're feeling really adventurous, go and create your own theme and publish it to the world.
Thank you, Sergey. And honestly, thank you for the themes. The themes are so exciting. The first tip I've ever had on Replit has been for a theme I made for the themes tutorial video.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great to see people tipping. I love that. It's sometimes it's hard work to make your favorite theme. So glad to see it.
The color picker, picking from other elements of the UI, is genius as well. There's only one question that I've picked up that might be worth just answering. Do we have any plans for a separate trending section on the homepage for custom themes?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's not something we've explored actively, but I think the goal over the next couple months is to integrate it more and more into the remaining community features. So have it show up in the community feed and have it show up on the homepage. So yeah, we haven't talked through in depth about when we're going to do that or how, but we definitely want to kind of tie this together with the rest of everything else you might do in the community, like publishing a REPL or whatnot.
That's great. Thank you, Sergey, and thank you very much for presenting for us. I'm not going to say bye in a really high-pitched voice this time. I'm just going to wave and click the button.
Thanks so much, David.
Well, I'll embarrass myself less that time when I signed off. But next up is me. Yes, your favorite big bald nerd is here to talk to you about the new year and what your plans are. If part of your plans for this year are to improve your programming ability, maybe you should take a look at our 100 Days of Code course. Now, on replit.com/learn, the learn page right here at the bottom, we spent 3 months last year building out 100 Days of Code, 100 tutorial lessons with videos of me and written content and example programs and all that good stuff there. Let's take a quick look at it, and then we'll hear from somebody that's actually completed all 100 days and their experience for it. But once we get in, you'll see that I somehow have got to 100 days of code, probably because I wrote them in the first place. But we do have a journey map, which shows you all of the lessons that you can work through. Our 100 Days of Code takes you from beginner in Python to doing Flask web development, scraping, and automation, and using APIs and all that sort of good stuff. We've even got some work with AI and summarization of content. So it's all there. Even if you are an experienced Python dev, it's fun to go through and see where you can push the limits of your learning. But let's go and hear from Mac. Mac is I'll let him explain himself. Come on, Mac, let's go up and have a chat.
Yeah, my name is Mac. I've been like an entrepreneur for the last few years, but I want to break into product management roles. So I decided to start this Replit course to understand Python more. And also, like, you know, everyone is talking about AI, and I also been interested for a few years. So because of that, I decided, okay, like let's see how it works. Yeah, because, like, you know, there are many like coding challenges, but I've seen this post. I've seen it posted on Twitter by your CEO that I follow on Twitter, and I've seen it being retweeted by many people I follow. So I was like, okay, well, if they say it makes sense, then maybe it makes sense. And also, I knew about Replit before. I was curious because many people told me that if you want to start coding in Python, it sometimes takes a lot of time to set everything up and so on. And I've heard that Replit is like you just you open it and can start code. So I was very curious to see it, and it delivered on the promise. So I was happy to see it. But I think the bigger challenge was that it took more time than I thought. So, at start I thought that maybe I'm just dumb, but like after, you know, looking at and discussing it with my friends that code, they said no, like it should take that much time because, you know, you need to solve it. Like, and sometimes even, you know, if I decided to just use like look up the solution because I gave up a few times, maybe, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Even that took like 15 minutes to really understand why have you made these choices and really implement this code. So I think it would be great if it was more about like, okay, the first lessons are 15 minutes a day, but then it can get harder because it would be easier to, you know, manage my expectations. Yeah, I mean, like I really loved the videos with the explanations were like super clear, and I had like 0 questions. I really loved that you could also like look it up in this in the files and you know, in this Replit platform. And I really liked that there were solutions as well and the hints, because like everything was like super clear. Like the things that were the hardest was obviously like, you know, sticking to it and doing it every day. But it's like, it's not Replit specific. It's like just courses. So I think if you had any like, you know, kind of like best practices, like, hey, if you want to finish this course, these are the best practices. Like, I don't know, just prepare a time slot every day, or like find some accountability buddy, or these kind of things. If you could add them to the course, more like, you know, soft kind of things to do, I think it would be beneficial for the learning. One thing that I found less useful than I thought was the Discord channel. I thought that it wasn't that as active as I thought it would be. So it was one thing that I didn't like that much, but it was very easy to do it yourself, or just, you know, Google from time to time. I think it would be honest if I said that it was like on average like hour a day. Sometimes it took 15 minutes, sometimes even 5, but sometimes I was like 2 hours into the task and just scratching my head and, you know, trying to find a solution. So I think like hour a day on average is kind of makes sense here. The one where we got the API from the news and OpenAI API, and it summarized the news, because it was like, you know, everyone is talking about AI and it's like revolutionizing the world and so on. But like I didn't have an idea that this task took me 25 lines of code and 10 minutes to do. And in 10 minutes, I could do something magical. Like really, like it felt like magic. Wow, this big AI, I'm using it not as a, user on a playground, but just like a, coder. And it was super cool. And it really like expanded my understanding of, how can you implement AI in products and make me think that it will be everywhere. So it was super, super interesting. It's only 100 days. I mean, it's like, I would encourage people by saying that in 100 days, you can change your perception of how technical can you be, because this is like really enough to think, okay, yeah, maybe it's not that complex. And as one side effect that this Replit 100 days of code had on me, and it was strange, but I started to be less scared of some technical work. Even, I have some websites that I manage and some things I just outsourced to my admin. And now I just started doing them myself and even felt some, fun because of doing it. So,
Thanks to Mac there for agreeing to be interviewed as one of the people that has completed the 100 days of code. I just want to show you this though, because one of the things you can do for a new year, new you is work your way through 100 days of code. And we had a chat yesterday in Replit 101 about whether turning Ghostwriter on for learning was a cheat or not. Now, I believe very strongly in my heart that if you get into a career where you're going to be doing programming at all, you're going to be using an AI-based assistant like Ghostwriter to work through it. And why not turn it on? I'll give this example from day 18. Day 18 is a guess the number challenge. So let's pop in a while true loop so we can work this game. Why true loop? Because we don't know how many times it's going to go. And I'm going to set my answer, I don't know, just some random number. Let's get the guess from the user. You see, Ghostwriter suggests as we go. Sometimes we need to give it a bit of a tweak to prompt it, give it more context. I could have written a bunch of comments and it would have understood those, but you can dive straight into the code if you want to. I'm going to do guess equals int, and then hopefully, there we go. You see Ghostwriter is making suggestions now that are really quite useful. And I'm going to put some ifs in. Do if the guess is equal to answer, what are we going to do? Print and break, certainly. And you see I'm writing very little code here. If the guess is less than the answer, print too low. Bring it back in for another elif. If the guess is greater than the answer, what we're going to say, print too high. And we've got, a reasonably good working version of that code. It works fine. And you can save so much time using something like Ghostwriter. Now, speaking of which, let's bring Reza up to the stage to chat to us about Ghostwriter and its future. Hi, Reza, how are you?
Hey, British Amjad, doing well. How are you?
Doing well for an off-brand version. I'm doing really well, thank you. I'll leave you to chat once again, guys. I'll collect questions in the chat and we'll come back to them at the end. Reza, over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, David. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm going to be demoing a new feature that we have coming up. And this is an extension of what David was talking about. So as you all know, Ghostwriter is one of our products. And what David was just showing is the autocomplete, the code complete feature of Ghostwriter. And so now I'm going to show a new feature coming out very soon called Ghostwriter Chat. And so this allows you to actually chat with Ghostwriter the way you would any real pair programmer. And so you'll see that it's here along the panes. You can access it through Ghostwriter Chat. So I'm just going to talk to it and ask it a question. And Ghostwriter will talk back. Awesome. OK, then I'm going to use Ghostwriter Chat to walk through a simple pizzeria example. So my name is Mark, and I'm going to start opening a pizzeria, and I want to be able to click or to print out my menu for my customers. So the first thing I'll do is I'll ask Ghostwriter Chat about this project. It actually knows the files in my project, knows what I'm working on, and so it has the context of my project. So I'm just going to ask, what are the different files in my project, and what does each one do? And so I get this answer back. The project contains 3 files, text, pizza, and main.py. Text.py contains a function called add new lines, takes a string, and it returns the number of new lines given. So if I look, sure enough, that's exactly what it does. Pizza.py contains a list called menu and a function called print menu that prints the items in that menu. And then main.py imports stuff from the other files, prints a welcome message and the menu. Okay, great. So let me run this and see what I get. And you can see that I'm off to a pretty good start. I welcomed people to my pizzeria, and then I have this menu, but it looks kind of ugly to have it in this list form. So I want to be able to print it out in a list. And so I had this function here, print menu. I'm going to try adding that. I'm going to export it here. Instead of doing print menu like this, I'm going to do print menu here instead. And I'm going to run this code. Whoops, I did not update something else. This should have been a bug. Let's try that again. And you'll see that I got a traceback error here. And so if you're like me, a lot of the times when you get errors, you might leave, open a new window, start searching on Stack Overflow for how to fix this. But Ghostwriter Chat actually makes it so you don't actually have to leave Replit. Ghostwriter here has detected that there's an error in my console, and I can click here to debug it with Ghostwriter. Let's see what it comes up with. And it tells me that the error is on line 8 of main.py. I'm calling the function print menu, but I haven't given it a required argument menu. And I can fix this by changing print menu to print menu menu. Let's try that and see if it works. And there it is, error gone. So I thought that I had originally thought that I put menu as the default argument here. And so that's why I hadn't included it. Let me ask Ghostwriter, how can I make menu the default argument, the default parameter in the print menu function? Okay, I can see that actually what I was supposed to do was put menu equals menu. And so not only can I use it to debug, and I can also just ask it any questions about my code, like how do I create a default parameter? And so this says that if no argument is provided, when the function is called, menu list will be automatically used. So I think that means now I can delete this, I can run, and it'll be automatically used. Great. Okay. Now, the only other thing that I want to fix here is I don't like how my menu starts at 0 instead of 1. I'd like it to start at 1, go through 1, 2, and 3. Let me see if I can do something about that. So I see that I'm going through a loop here using I. I'm going to create a different variable called j and just add 1 to I. Try to use that here instead of I. And let me run this. And it looks like I got it started at 1, but now I have a new problem, index error, list index out of range. Looks like I messed something up there. Let's see. And Ghostwriter is able to tell me that actually I should have only changed that first one to a J, and the second one should stay as an I. Let's run that and see. There we go. And I finally got my my menu printed out here in the pizzeria. Going to try asking it a few more things, like what are some of the things I can do? What are some things I can do to improve the code in my project? So it tells me that I can do things like add comments, explain the purpose of each function of line of code, refactor to make it as efficient as possible. So let's ask it for some more specifics, because this is pretty helpful, but I want to get some more details. Maybe one of the things I'd like to do is write doc strings for print menu. Great. So this is an example of how to use doc strings. I can also refer to previous messages in my chat with Ghostwriter. Arguments to the doc string. And there it is. And I can actually take this, copy that part in, prove my code. And it looks like I missed a, oh, I see. I missed the last three. There we go. Now I have some improved doc strings for my code. And then let's say one other thing I want to do is I want to write some unit tests for text.py. And then Ghostwriter wrote these texts for me, and they put them in text, test.py. I'm going to click in here. And there we go. Here's some unit tests that it wrote for me automatically. So this is going to be a feature that's going to be coming out very soon, both the debugger and the chat feature. So please keep an eye out for that. And with that, I'll stop and turn it over back to David.
Thank you, Reza, and thank you for the most. Oh, sorry, completely did something weird with the video then. Sorry, Shay, you clicked the wrong button. Thank you so much for that demo. The future of Ghostwriter is going to be absolutely amazing. It's really impressive that it picks up all that stuff, and especially I'm looking forward to debugging myself. I couldn't see many questions specifically about Ghostwriter, but I think everyone's just excited to get it into their hands. What's the sort of timescale on this for our users, Reza?
So there's a version of it out right now to patrons, but the version that I've just demoed has a lot more features. The version that's out to patrons doesn't know about your files, for example. We're hoping to get an initial version of it out in the next month or so of Ghostwriter Chat.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I'm not going to say hi to you in a squeaky voice either. I'm just going to wave and say goodbye, but thank you very much for presenting to us. We're going to go to Lima next quickly to have a chat about mobile. Lima, hello.
Hello. Well, thank you for
doing mobile.
Yes, let's do it. I will share my screen as well. All right. I think it's up. There we go. Yeah, I'm so excited to be back at the Replit Town Hall. The last time I was here was to talk about the launch of the mobile app, which was in October of last year. And kind of wild to think about because it seems like such a short amount of time and we've been very busy. So I'm here to talk about all the important features we've released since our launch and do a quick demo and then also tease some stuff that we have coming very soon. So let's get right into it. First thing I want to talk about is cycles. So we've been working to make it super seamless for you to manage and use your cycles in the app. We have been improving the transaction screen, so it's a lot more comprehensible. And we've also added the Ghostwriter power-up to the app. So now, if you go to your account tab, you'll see, and you've used cycles in the past, you'll see a My Cycles screen. And it will now let you try out Ghostwriter on mobile. That's very exciting. It's been one of the most delightful experiences to create a REPL, write some prompts, and just get code built for you straight away. The other thing I want to talk about, one of the most requested features after launch, and we started working on this straight away, is team support. So now Teams is also easily available on the account tab. You'll find all your teams across education and your friends. You'll be able to create new teams for friends and also find all your team repos. And also, pro tip, you can find your team repos if you search for them on the main tab of the app as well. Okay, the other stuff. Oh, this one's really exciting. So we've rolled out the cover page on the app. So now if you share and open REPL links to REPLs on your mobile device, they will open right away in the app. And from there, you can fork and run those REPLs directly. You can also preview them. We have a more minimalistic version of the cover page than web, but that's going to change over the coming year. There's going to be a major upgrade to cover pages cross-platform, so watch out for that. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is a really, really useful feature, which is import from GitHub. So now you can import a GitHub repo and start coding, editing, and running it directly from the app. And I'll do a quick demonstration of that in a moment. And last but not least, we've rolled out iPad support for the app. And this is another extremely requested feature, and it's no small feat. We've also done some improvements and bug fixes to the Android tablet experience. Consider this an early release. We still have a lot more we want to do to make that experience really, really optimized for the iPad. But for now, we wanted to make sure all the features, functionality were available and adapted to the screen size. So let's do a quick demo of the last two things. I have a quick video here. So here I am on my tablet. Okay, so I'll just voice over this. So you can't miss it. Import from GitHub is right there on the Create tab. When you tap it, you'll have the option to add a GitHub URL. You can add any public GitHub URLs or ones that you have permissions to if you are logged in through GitHub SSO. So once you open it, we are going to do our magic to import it. We're creating a REPL out of this repo. It's going to be configured based on the language that we detect, and it's going to be runnable, which is really exciting. So here I have a really kind of fun and delightful JavaScript repo that I've imported. So at this point, I'm switching to my external keyboard. You can basically use the software keyboard or external keyboard with this. I know already what the command should be, so that's where you import it. Right here, let me just pause. You'll see that once you've imported the repo, you get all the files. You can start browsing them. Keep going. So here I'm opening the README. I just want to make sure that I know what the command is to run this repo or REPL now, which is at the bottom there. And then I'm going to hit run. So Replit is very smart. It knows what packages, it knows that there are packages that need to be installed. So it runs npm install. Then it runs the run command that I've configured it to do, npm run build. Now the program is going to do its magic. Also, shout out to Ian, who's on the mobile team, who discovered this GitHub repo. And then now I'm going to do node index per the README instructions and run it. And then you get this very cool ASCII art that is very mesmerizing. And I kind of ran this on my tablet for like a couple minutes, just as like a live wallpaper. It was very cool. Yeah, so there you go. You can now import any GitHub repo, edit, run it on your iPad. Cool. All right, I'll cut it short there. Okay, lastly, I want to talk about some things that are coming up very soon. Before I do that, any questions so far from the audience?
I think the only questions that I've noticed have been about whether we intend to support features like chat and stuff like that. But I imagine that's just on the roadmap at some point, is it?
Yes. Yeah. We're very excited about supporting chat, threads. All of that is coming soon. But the thing I want to talk about now that I'm very excited about is mobile Git support. So we are revamping our entire sort of UI for Git support, and also making the Git service in REPL so you can use them in the shell more robust. Here's a few sneak peek screenshots. So you're going to be able to see your entire commit history for your project. You'll be able to commit changes, and then also manage your other branches. And remember, Replit is multiplayer first. So all of this works with collaborators and the people that you're working with in a team. Okay, the other thing I want to highlight is for our users in India, we are working on some major platform improvements that is going to make it much, much faster to load and run REPLs from India, and that, watch out for that announcement coming very soon. And last but not least, we are going to have a lot more power-ups available both on web and mobile, but we're also going to make it very, very easy for you to buy those power-ups straight from the app, so that anytime you need to boost or activate a REPL because it's very popular, you can do that straight from your pocket. And that's all from me. Thank you so much. And feel free to leave me any feedback. This is the REPL URL. And also, we read everything you send us through the in-app feedback in the app. And we're always listening, and hopefully you'll be excited for some of the improvements coming soon. Thank you.
Lima, thank you so much for that. It's so nice to get spoilers of what's coming to the mobile app. It's so great to be able to stand in a shop and code away with your fantastic interface. So thank you so much. Next up is Xiaoyi, who's going to talk to us about a feature that has rolled out on Wednesday and that we'll be making a big fuss about on Monday, which is our PostgreSQL.
Hi, my name is Xiaoyi. It's my first time at Town Hall. Excited to meet you. I joined Replit as an engineer last year, and I'm going to demo the new feature PostgreSQL we have launched yesterday. So what is PostgreSQL? So PostgreSQL is a very powerful open source relational database that you can use for your web application. And it's a production-ready, battle-tested relational database. So to start using PostgreSQL, go to the Tools pane, click this PostgreSQL button, and you can use cycles to create a database. It's 100 cycles a day for 10 gigabytes of fast read and write storage. So I can create this Postgres database. Yeah, it's already created, the database. It's this fast. So after I created a database, I can see that I have already used a bit of a storage here out of my 10 gigabyte storage. But this is because Postgres itself uses some metadata to store your table. So don't worry about that. It's just like 20 megabytes. And I can see my database contents from this button, or I can execute some SQL queries. I'll go a bit into that after. So you can also use the using database section to get some help for getting started using the database. We have provided some environment variables we have set in your repo. So if you go to the secrets panel, we have already set this as environment variables. If you want to delete this database, you can just click this remove database button. To start using the database, I'm going to show some SQL queries. Okay, so let's create a table first. So let's create a table of marks. Okay. Oh, as you can see, Ghostwriter already helped me complete this SQL query. So let's insert a new mark. Select all marks. Nice. And I can go to my table and I can see this is the mark I created. These columns, these types. And basically, you don't need to know a lot of SQL. You can just use Ghostwriter and type some SQL comments, and Ghostwriter will write SQL queries for you. And we also have a query history available. So this is some past queries I've executed. I can go to the queries of them. So I have this query. It's called marks. So let me drop it. Cool. And there's no tables now. And I can pin some query if it's a query that I frequently use. All right. So basically, this is one thing. I'm just going to show how you can connect to this database. We have the documentation linked from the database panel, but you can also go to the docs.replit, Neon databases, and we have the examples for using databases for different languages, such as Node.js and Python. This is a Node.js. I use the environment variable to connect to the database. And I can execute a SQL query using the Postgres client library. All right, so that's the demo. So I'll see if I can answer some questions.
Jay, thank you so much for that. That like honestly, when I saw this, I've been building Learn content for it this week, guys. So if you are interested in seeing sort of a bit more how to use it, how to run it, Monday I'll be launching that stuff. But it's so nice. It's so nice the way it's built. It's so nice to have that access to the database directly in a pane and a Ghostwriter there. I can't see any obvious questions, Jay, sorry. But there's a lot of good stuff, and I'm for saying the database is smooth. So
thank you.
I think we're all happy with it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, let us know any feedback. We are constantly improving on this. It's a preview version, so hope you'll like it.
I like it enough for everybody. Don't worry.
Yeah, thanks. Also, shout out to my colleague Lincoln, who's been leading this project a lot.
Fantastic, guys. Thank you so much. I'll let you go now, and thanks for hanging around. Finally, we've got Ornella coming up to the stage to talk to us a little bit about an exciting hackathon. Ornella?
Hey, everyone. I think this might be my first town hall, so I'm very excited to be here with all of you. I'm here to talk about the Weights and Biases Hackathon. And if you saw our event earlier this week, we announced it there, but it's our very first machine learning hackathon being hosted on Replit. So extremely exciting stuff. It's going down on February 4th through 11th, and the wait list is now open. So you can apply by going to the site that we'll post in the chat. And it's really important to include your weights and biases username and also some code samples. It doesn't have to be AI related. If you're a beginner, that's okay. And we'll be notifying participants with all of the details shortly. And some really important things to note as well is that we're giving away over 500,000 cycles as prizes to the winners. And the really cool thing about this hackathon is that all of the participants will get early access to GPUs sponsored by Weights and Biases. So GPUs are currently available to all explorers, so make sure you have that enabled. And then if you're selected as a participant, you'll also get access to them for free. And in the blog post we recently posted, you'll also find resources and demos for both Weights and Biases and Replit. So we're super stoked for this one. Can't wait to see what you build.
Thank you so much for that. The Weights and Biases Hackathon is going to be amazing. Is it our first ML hackathon?
It is, yeah. Super excited.
And it'd be so cool to get the GPUs in there. I've posted the link to the blog post and the link to sign up and get on the wait list. I've pinned that to the chat. So if you're interested, go into the chat and find those links now. And thank you so much. And sorry, I put you up last. Next time you come to the stage, I'll make sure you're first in the agenda, okay?
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Well, that's it. We've got the opportunity to ask questions, but it's mainly just me left. So if you would like to ask some questions, please pop it in the chat. If the questions are particularly about my hair loss, it's just genetic, unfortunately. There's no more of a story than that. But as we're waiting for some questions to pop in, it is worth just reminding you where you can go to find out information about other events. Replit.com/community-hub is where you'll find links to all the events that are going on, not just run by us, but also run by our reps and other third parties. We've got a bunch of stuff going on for the hackathon coming up, and of course, on every other Wednesday, I host a Replit 101, which is a coding helpline. So if you do have problems with the code, you just want to come and hang out and talk nerdy stuff, we're there to chat to you as well. Madison says that I think this might be true. It might have been Madison. I like to think it was genetic, but I did put a lot of hair gel on when I was a teenager. I did have quite a lot of hair. So I can't say that too much, though, because the hair gel industry might be litigious. You never know. Okay, I can't see any questions popping in for me. So we'll come to an end of this month's town hall. So thank you to all of our speakers. Thank you to everyone that presented. And I hope that you guys enjoyed it. As I said, if you want to find out anything else we're up to, any of our other live events, please go to replit.com/community-hub. We also have stuff there for all our different types of users, more content, more stuff to get on with. And we will see you again for another town hall next month when we'll be showing you another never-ending list of the cool stuff we're doing. Remember, at Replit, it's always shipping season. So come and see the cool stuff that we'll be shipping.